Hello, my name is Eva Reed, and this morning I will be speaking to you about the life of Claude Debussy. Debussy was born August 22, 1862. He was the eldest of 5 children. His father owned a china shop and his mother was a seamstress, so he grew up in a very poor environment. He was born in the suburbs outside of Paris, and when he was very young, his family moved to Paris, within Paris, and then to Cannes, France. And if you look at the picture on the slide, that's a picture of Cannes, where he lived from the ages of 7 to 10. His aunt paid for him to begin taking piano lessons when he was 7, and at the age of 10 he entered the Paris Conservatory of Music. In the conservatory he studied piano, organ, solfège, composition, and music theory. His teachers included César Franck and Émile Durand. Debussy's style right from the first start in the conservatory was very controversial. He did not like counterpoint. He did not follow any of the rules of counterpoint. He completely and deliberately went against those rules. He preferred dissonances and parallel fifths, and he deliberately wrote them in all his music, which the Academy did not look favorably upon, but he insisted upon his own way. His career. In the summers of 1880 to 1882, he worked for Tchaikovsky's patroness Nadezhda von Meck. His duties included accompanying her, teaching her children music, as well as performing with her friends. Now, you may believe that because of this connection with Tchaikovsky, it would have been beneficial to Debussy, but in fact, von Meck sent one of his pieces to Tchaikovsky, and he sent it back with a very severe and heavy critique. He did not like it at all. In 1883, Debussy attempted to win the Prix de Rome, but failed. However, in 1884, he tried again with a piece entitled Les Enfants Protégés, and this time was successful. The winning of this prize assured him a scholarship to continue his studies. However, his style continued to be disputed, and he remained firmly fastened to his own thoughts of how music should be composed. His first popular and favorable significant work was his first book of preludes for piano, containing 12 preludes. He composed only one full opera entitled Pelée et Mélisande. It was performed in 1902 and earned widespread fame. Some of his most well-known works include The Children's Corner, his Preludes, and Clair de Lune. Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun was influenced directly from Stéphane Mallarmé's poem Afternoon of a Faun. This particular piece reflects how Debussy combined 2 art forms, music and writing. Influence upon Debussy were Wagner, the Javanese gamelan, and the Symbolist movement. Wagner. Debussy enjoyed Wagner. Although he outwardly critiqued Wagner for being flashy and showy, he did not particularly appreciate that. And although he outwardly did not appreciate Wagner, he did enjoy his style and his flow of music. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, it's a picture of a woman from Wagner's opera, and if you look at her costume, it's very, very rich and very shiny, very flashy. And then the woman on the left is from Debussy's only opera, and if you see the quality is more, it's very dreamy and more thoughtful. The Javanese gamelan is a set of instruments played by a group of people. It includes bells, gongs, and xylophones. And it produces sort of an eerie sound, which if you hear the Sunken Cathedral, which is a prelude by Debussy, you can hear that reflection of the Javanese gamelan within that. The Symbolist movement. So what is symbolism? Symbolism was an idea that attempted to cause art forms subject to disappear and instead give the audience a sense or emotion about the object rather than giving them a direct object. It was a 19th century movement that attempted to pull away from realism. Debussy and symbolism. Debussy became directly involved with writers and painters of the Symbolist movement. He joined a writers group, he spoke with them about it, he was very interested in that concept of giving the audience an emotion or a sense rather than a direct object. Particularly Stéphane Mallarmé, Debussy was very close to. He, as I mentioned before, he took one of Mallarmé's poems and wrote a piece with it, combining writing and music. Debussy's Prelude Afternoon of a Faun, intends to evoke an emotional experience rather than a direct object. Debussy's personal and later life. Debussy had quite a few women in his life. The first was Gabby Dupont. He called her his Gabby with the green eyes, but she was the first woman, and he hung around with her about the time when he was interested in the Symbolist movement. Then he married Lily Texier, a fashion model, in 1889. But she became increasingly irritating to him because apparently she didn't understand music and she wasn't very sensitive. As a result, he had an affair with Emma Bardak. Lily attempted suicide but failed, and Debussy eventually married Emma, and they had a child, Claude Emma, whom he wrote the Children's Corner for, or she's also known as Chow Chow. Debussy died March 25, 1918 of cancer. He was buried quickly in Paris as the German offensive of World War I raged. His daughter Chow Chow died from diphtheria a year later and is buried with him. Emma and Chow Chow and Debussy are all buried together. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.